Okay, recording is up. All right, while we're waiting for people, I did pull up a couple of dad jokes. In the spirit of Halloween coming up, I found a couple of Halloween-based ones. Let me just take a look here. Why wouldn't the ghost dance at the party? Anyone? He had no body to dance with. Wah, wah. I didn't say these were good. Oof, tough crowd. What did the ghost take on his what? Sorry, I am butchering these today. Who did the ghost take on a date? His ghoul friend. Oh, just seeing the chat. Nice one. Boogers. Boogie, also acceptable. See what else I got here. What kind of horse do ghosts ride? A nightmare. I mean, that's pretty clever. Where does a skeleton go for a fun night? Where, Jay? Anywhere, as long as it's a hip joint. All right, that's a good one. I like it. Appreciate that. What did the pumpkin say to its carver? No idea. Cut it out. I like it. Let's see. I got another one here. Oh, Hashcode's got another. How do you know if a zombie likes someone? He asks for seconds. Where does a ghost go on vacation? Malibu. Okay. Okay, I got one more. One more. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find a decent one. Why don't mummies have friends? Because they're too wrapped up in themselves. That was a pretty good one. Yeah, I like that. No, the Discord notification has not gone out yet. Seems like we're having a slow day. Sometimes it's 30 seconds. Sometimes it's like 15 minutes, unfortunately. Haven't seen it come through just yet. But I mean, we can get started if everyone's ready. That's cool as well. Second here. Let me just make sure I got everything ready. Nice one, Elmo. Oh, hey, Scott. How's it going?
All right. Thanks for running the show with the dad jokes.
They're pretty good today. I'm just gonna say, everyone's got some good ones. Well, okay, Hashcode's got another. Why don't zombies eat popcorn with their hands? They eat their hands separately. All right, that's really good.
Nice.
Gross.
Oh, amazing.
That's a better comment. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Discord notification being super slow today, unfortunately. But it looks like we've got a pretty good turnout at the moment. I'm sure it'll go out shortly, so I think we should get started, if that's okay with everyone. So just a heads up, this call is recorded. It has recorded a bunch of our dad jokes, so you can feel free to listen to those later. Um, Note taker, do we have a waveform around to take notes? I believe he's in here somewhere. And
Yep.
perfect. Thank you, waveform. And if we have any additional items for the agenda, questions, things like that, feel free to reach out. Waveform will be monitoring the chat. And we can get started. So thank you everyone for joining. Welcome on this Wednesday, hump day. Do people still say that? Yeah, let's get started here. So first off, we've got Scott up to talk about an exciting topic. That is Foundation membership. So Scott, please take it away.
All right, let me drop some links here. There we go. So I just want to remind folks that the Helium Foundation membership program has its kickoff call tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. We are going to set up a second time for Asia and Australia, so we've had a couple of folks request better time for that. So more than happy to do it. Reminder about the nature of this program. So discussed in the past, but always good to provide some context. Helium Foundation is a US-based 501c6 trade association. So this is akin to a business league, chamber of commerce, all with a collective industry benefit. So the membership program functions both as a revenue stream for the foundation, but also a more structured coordination venue for network growth initiatives, completely distinct from governance. So what are we going to be doing? Tomorrow is mostly an informative session and kind of giving some overview, effectively what I'm doing right now, but in a little bit more detail. We've already been doing ad hoc collaboration and kind of promotion with stakeholders over the years, but the membership program is going to focus on, so one, promotion of the network through member organizations. So this is product marketing. We're going to ramp up a lot more on case studies, syndicating content, co-hosting, co-sponsoring industry events, advocacy with relevant industry groups, and a lot more around that side. Second thing, member services. So this is going to range from how can we make improvements to operational efficiency for member orgs, formal licensing of the brand. So whether you're talking about using Helium for events, product branding, standing up more structure in those areas. Third thing I would say is stronger feedback loops and just spending more time with the organizations that are helping to grow the network. So we are spending and focusing more attention from the foundation these days on end user experiences. Sure, you've seen that the dev team is making great improvements to the app, but we also want to make sure we're really calling attention to and highlighting what are the best product experiences. Also, how can we drive new applications in the network in general and work with new entrepreneurs, new developers, primarily on the IoT network, but obviously we're very excited to see where mobile is going to take us in 2024. So generally speaking, the program is going to evolve based on what is best for network growth and what's best for member organizations. There is an enthusiast tier for folks that want to bring in their expertise to the conversation. We are absolutely thinking about how we can scale engagement and education. So there's certainly value in all organizations and all individuals participating here. So more we can grow this program over time, the more we can redeploy resources back to the community. So look forward to seeing everyone that can attend tomorrow. But please spread the word, and excited to get this off the ground. And thank you to the folks that have sent in some inquiry, past donors, but really excited about the structure and how we're going to scale it from here. So that is it on membership.
Thank you very much, Scott. And not sure if everyone noticed, but Scott did post a link in the chat on the side there to view the info about Helium Foundation membership. And thank you again, Scott, for posting the email address for questions.
Yep. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, we'll talk to you again in a moment. Brandy, can I call you up here if you're out there somewhere? Where are you, Brandy? Oh, there you are. Come on up. Brandon, you're going to talk to us about some events.
Well, I sure am. Hello, everyone. So, we have events. We have all kinds of things coming up all the time. As you know, always excited that we're kind of getting back on the road here in the past couple years, and really focused on community and IoT and all the great things that you guys are building on the ecosystem and putting together for the greater good, and helping all those folks out there. So as you know, we are heading, a couple folks from the team here from the foundation, heading to Breakpoint. We have Bai speaking on stage over there well, that is coming up quickly, isn't it? That is next week. Oh my, October is getting away from me. So we have many of the foundation team members heading over there. So you'll see us out and about at many of the events. So follow us on socials if you aren't. All of our Helium channels, most importantly, Twitter, where you'll be seeing us pop up at events. Also, Noah from our team will be speaking on stage. So you'll see a bunch of us over there. And then we are on our way right after Breakpoint in Amsterdam to Barcelona, Smart Cities. And we have a bunch of amazing opportunities with our partners at Smart Cities. We are going to be having a location, a booth at booth number A55 with our partners Heliotics, where we will have demos, amazing demos planned at the booth there at Smart Cities in Barcelona. That is November 7th to the 9th. So if you are there, please come see us. We are excited to network. We are also having a happy hour with the Lower-Ran Alliance. They have a booth as well. That's booth F90. And in their booth, we have many of our other partners, Seed, Green Metrics, Demal Reeds, many others, and I'm just naming a few. So I apologize if I'm leaving folks out. There are so many ecosystem partners going to be at Smart Cities. So we're really, really excited to network with you all. Reach out to us. We want to connect with everybody. Hit us up at hello@helium.foundation so we can get you on our radar. But we have a nice team from the Helium Foundation going over there. And we also have presser events going on. So we're really excited to network with the media as well, in addition to our partners. So those are the two big events on our radar right now. And as Scott had also mentioned, we are putting together our event schedule for 2024. I'm just going to tease you with it. I'm not going to go into the details, but we're really excited about it, and we're going to talk more about that tomorrow. So please show up to that call. Lots of really great things that we're excited to talk about and work with you all on, and would welcome you guys to show up and work with us on that. So I'll leave you with that, throwing a lot of information at you, but follow us on socials, come see us, and certainly show up to that call tomorrow to find out what we have going on for 2024. Keenan, back to you.
Thank you. That was an awesome update. Lots going on. And just for everyone listening, I will be at Breakpoint myself. So if you happen to see me, track me down, say hello. I might have some stickers for you. Excited to be there. Scott, if I can have you back up to talk about the MCC.
Yep, got it. I love Brandon's delivery. I basically feel like I'm up here with news anchor. Just perfect transition, so seamless.
Hard to follow up. Yeah,
I know. Really, just got to work on my panel game. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about a new proposal to better sustain the Maker program. So punch that right in there. Currently in this pull request, we'll get this merged into a HIP and open channel, but want to make sure there was at least a public doc for this call. There have definitely been other contributors to this, both within Foundation team, input from MCC members. So I appreciate and thank everyone who provided perspective. Obviously, happy to add authors, but the goal is just to get this published for today in this call. General idea. So HIP 19 inspired the creation of was originally the Manufacturing Oversight Committee, rebranded to the Manufacturing Compliance Committee, or MCC. This was historically staffed by full-time Foundation employees and as well as engaged volunteers. Volunteers had a natural incentive to participate in the MCC, whether we've had folks at large deployers, early network adopters, aligned organizations like Semtech as an example, who had some commercial interest. But at this point in the network lifecycle, that model is no longer sustainable. Arguably hasn't been for a while. The foundation is spreading its resources to a lot of priorities, and volunteers should spend their time on projects where they're being compensated. So one of the key issues behind this HIP is there are limited options for the MCC that they have to enforce good behavior by makers in the past. Makers, for those who don't know, are granted a maker key once they've been approved, and that allows them to add devices to the network. All the MCC could effectively do was the blunt instrument of revoking a maker key. And that has the effect of potential harm to end customers. So it is not always the right solution. It was just the only tool that was effectively in the MCC's arsenal. So going forward, the Maker program really needs to have better tools at its disposal. This includes more formalized commercial terms with makers. Right now, there is an ethics agreement. The ability to stand up financial accountability with makers, such as escrow agreements. And then, very importantly, the ability for the entity to be, entity committee, it needs to have funding to be able to compensate their contributors for their time. So after a lot of conversation, the best solution to this is establishing a distinct legal entity with a revenue stream in some fashion from the network. It can provide full transparency for operations and how those proceeds are being used. It can establish its own bylaws. This entity could contract directly with makers for more precise accountability measures. And importantly, anybody that is contributing to the program, whether contractor, committee member, want to be able to have an appropriate legal shield for the folks that are working on this. So give the HIP a read. Want to get that conversation started in channel. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions around it. But as far as sustaining the program and addressing some of the past issues that have put some friction in the process of creating a bad end user experience, which really, and like that's kind of the North Star goal here, and holding bad actors accountable, this is the point of the HIP. So give it a read, look forward to the discussion, and we'll see you in channel. But that is the summary.
Perfect. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
I didn't see anything popping up in chat, so I think folks will probably just wait for channel to be opened, which we'll get to that.
Yeah, not seeing anything at the moment. Give it just a second here.
Yeah, I was going to say, nobody's going to jump in. So please take the time to digest on that one.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Noah, are you in the audience there? If I can pull you up on stage to talk about an engineering update. Some exciting stuff going on there. There you are. Welcome up,
Oh,
Noah.
I'm glad you invited me. I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to get back to the community call screen. Discord, man.
It's all good. We sorted it out. Yeah, excited to hear some of these updates. I know there's some cool stuff that you've been working on. So yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so the main push has been on the wallet app itself. We've basically just been trying to eliminate all the bugs and just general points of friction. So 2.3.2, I think, was a pretty big one, and it came with one, the ability to onboard your hotspots now, Bluetooth enabled hotspots in the wallet app itself. So it's unfortunately become a problem that a lot of maker apps aren't working correctly. So even the ability to change your Wi-Fi on your Bluetooth enabled IoT hotspots is pretty helpful, but this also allows you to just onboard them completely. With that, we've also kind of updated the assert location in the wallet app such that it does an implicit burn. So you no longer need to go and try and buy DC to grab or to assert location. And it also does some reverse geocoding, so you can see the location of all of your hotspots. We also added ledger support. We might be doing some changes to the derivation path that it's using, but if you've got a Bluetooth enabled ledger, you can now use that again with the wallet app, which is pretty cool. And then really one of the bigger shipments is going to be coming probably sometime within this next week with 2.4.0, where we've actually replaced the whole swap interface with a Jupyter swap. So you no longer will have to go to the browser screen and visit jupe.ag to swap your tokens, whether you're swapping like mobile to HNT or the other way around or buying SOL. You can now do that all in the app. And we're also going to be releasing another feature with this release that allows the app to effectively automatically manage the SOL that you need for transaction fees. So if you enable this, then it will effectively do implicit burns of HNT and IoT and mobile into the SOL that you need for gas. So that's pretty big. And then thank you to everybody who helped test the modular governance prototype. We're still, I'm not sure if I was supposed to unveil the the 2.4.0, but yeah, some really cool stuff coming soon. And we're also going to continue shipping on the governance side of things.
Yeah, those are some really cool features that have been requested. So that's really, really exciting.
I see a question here. Where did the swap to the mobile treasury go? It's a good question. So Jupyter actually has the treasury swap integrated with it. And so it's really, really smart. Like it will try to get you the best rate on your mobile to HNT. And if the best rate is the treasury, it will take the treasury route. So you can actually see this if you take if you do like a really, really, really large trade. I think it will probably end up routing through the treasury, just depending on how thin the order book is on chain. I'm not sure. The order book might be thicker than I think. But yeah, Jupyter is going to get you the best rate, including the treasury.
Awesome. Thanks, Noah. We're going to have you back up in a second here, but if you just want to hang out. Joey, if I can get you up here.
Oh, hello.
There we go. I can hear you, Joey.
Great.
All right, you're going to talk to us about data-only hotspots, so take it away.
Yeah. So this has been, for folks that have been around the network for a while, will remember data-only hotspots were an entity on the Helium L1. So it's exciting to share now that any LoRaWAN gateway can be configured to operate on the Helium network directly as a data-only hotspot, again, now through the Solana network. And so alongside the technical implementation of this, there's a sort of set of full guides on the Helium docs that sort of detail this process. And I guess the only requirement for anyone on this call that might go and jump in there is to make sure that you're operating using the latest Helium wallet CLI and the latest version of Gateway RS. The exciting thing here is as we talk to roaming partners to network users, folks interested in leveraging the Helium network, oftentimes a very clear path for them is to just take the existing gateways they have and convert them to be Helium compatible. So this, again, unlocks a lot of opportunities for folks who are looking to build deep coverage in their owned properties, but then have that continuity out into the world using Helium. So super excited to get this out, and we're already seeing some interest and deployment of new data-only hotspots. So good to see. And I'll drop a link to those docs in the chat, but I think that covers it for me.
Awesome. I was just going to ask if you could do that, so thank you. Appreciate
Great.
it, Joey.
Yeah, thanks, Keenan.
Right. Talk to you soon. Noah, you're back up. If you could talk to us a little bit about modular governance and the test vote we just had.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. So when we originally migrated to Solana, we obviously had a lot of things to work on. So we weren't going to just go in and build a governance solution. We had to use what was out of the box. For a number of reasons, Realms hasn't really been ideal for us. Honestly, the biggest one is that it doesn't actually support the quorum requirements that Helium has, where you need 67% of the vote, and I think it's 100 million VHNT on that option. It just doesn't support that. And we've actually, right now the user interface on our fork of Realms is using a hack that, basically says the vote passes when it has this amount, but on chain, it's kind of telling a different story. So we've had a need to migrate away and to something that's kind of more suited to Helium's use cases and, allows other unique features like multiple choice voting. And so to test it out, we ran a test vote on mainnet using VHNC. And that was actually a multiple choice vote. So we got to test out that side of the feature as well. And it went pretty well. There's not really any major problems, some UX bug fixes here and there. We had some issues with our script that closes out people's old votes to make sure that they can withdraw their positions, but that's now fixed as well. So yeah, it should be good. And it'll also be nice because on Realms right now, when you're trying to close a position, you have to make sure you go and relinquish all of your open votes, including on votes that are already over. With modular governance, you won't have to do that anymore. Your votes will automatically get kind of swept up when the vote is over, so that your position is opened up to be withdrawn again if the position lockup ends. But yeah, hope to eventually get that into the wallet app as well, which would be pretty cool. But that's going to be a pretty big lift.
Awesome, Noah. Thanks for the update on that. Cool. We're going to move on to Seth. If I can get you up here. Seth.nova. I'm going to pull you up. Seth, is that invite working for you there? Give us a moment here. Sorry, just having a bit of a technical issue here. Bear with me. No worries, Seth. Just take your time. There we go. Interesting. It's not letting you come up on stage here for some reason. There we
Okay.
go. Hey, we got
Yeah.
you. All right. Thanks for coming up, man.
Not sure what the issue was, but glad to be here. I'll have a quick little spiel this afternoon. For everyone that doesn't know, my name is Seth, and I actually work with the product marketing side of things here at Nova Labs. And part of that is focusing on the console and, of course, the 1663 side of things. But today I'll be speaking specifically about the Nova Labs dedicated console. I believe many of those users are aware, excuse me, but Nova Labs will actually be sunsetting our instance of dedicated or VIP console come December of this year. Now, obvious disclaimer I wanted to add off the bat, this is only pertaining to just the Nova Labs dedicated, otherwise known as the VIP console. There are tons of different consoles out there, lots of third-party providers, some awesome providers as well, I might add. But specifically for the sunset, the only users impacted are those that are using the Nova Labs dedicated console. Now, if you're confused as to what console you're actually using right now, pretty easy to tell the difference. If you log into the actual web page and you look at the URL and see anywhere where it says VIP in that top search nav bar, pretty good chance that you're probably on the Nova Labs console, and so this applies to you. But essentially, I just wanted to come in here today and make sure that everyone that is impacted by this is fully aware of what is going on. I can tell you right now, we have sent out multiple email communications, and we've actually had the pleasure of working directly in person with some impacted users, as well as just scheduling multiple calls with Scott and our sales team. So from my understanding, I believe everyone that is impacted is already aware of this, but just kind of expanding our horizon here, making sure that every impacted user knows the proper next steps. And those next steps really aren't super complicated. For users that are leveraging the dedicated console, there really are three options going forward. They can choose to really self-host, and we've seen lots of users choose to self-host their own console or their own LoRaWAN network server, LNS. That is one option. There's also, if you reference a docs page that I think we can probably post in the channel, there are tons of really great third-party LNS providers out there, and that is also always an option for users to migrate their devices to as well. And last but not least, 1663 is hosting our own private console, and if you're interested in leveraging that as well, that is certainly available for all dedicated console users as well as external parties as well. The last thing I'll touch on is just timeline here, and the main date to keep in mind is December 7th. That is going to be the official sunset date for, once again, the Nova Labs dedicated console. Other console providers are not impacted by this timeline. So we highly encourage users, if they haven't already, start considering where they want to move their devices, start reaching out to other third-party LNS providers, 1663, or consider the requirements needed to actually self-host your own console. I also saw a few days ago, and I think yesterday it was, there were some questions about, well, what happens when I move my devices and I still have data credits left over my console? Well, no worries there. If that is the case and you choose to move your devices to another third-party LNS or your own self-hosted LNS, we will, of course, go ahead and refund any remaining balance of data credits left in your account. So if that is you and you fall under that bucket of folks right there, just feel free to send us an email when you have moved your devices, and we will go ahead and process that refund request. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to the classic sales@novalabs.com email, or you can send myself a message on Discord or send me an email directly, that email being seth@nova-labs.com. And I think that touched on everything I wanted to share, but just once again, making sure the community is aware of this upcoming change and hopefully providing some clarity to any individuals that needed it.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. Yeah, if you can drop those email addresses into the chat, that would be awesome.
Will do, will do.
Perfect. Thank you for the update. And waveform, if you want to come on up. Oh, you're already up. Yeah, tell us about governance office hours.
Hi there. Yeah, we've had 2 governance office hours in the last month. There was one at kind of European US times and one at US Pacific times. Had a lot of good feedback, a lot of interesting conversations on those about the membership who is going to be on the committee if we go ahead with it, how it would operate, what tasks it would do, how it would assist HIP writers, how we as an organisation process HIPs and operational changes, how we delegate some of the things we've been doing at the moment to the committee and possibly even the working groups. There are lots of ways and lots of interest and lots of opinions, so we'll probably never actually get to a consensus over where everyone agrees, but we will be going for a majority opinions where there's been no dispute over some of the things that we've been discussing. I want to start next month, concentrate on the areas for discussion where we need to focus, get the agreements, get the processes. There's a few things that have come up, like where do we assign responsibilities and payment as well for some of the functionality that we would like people to do. Do we fund people for being on the committee? Do we fund people for writing HIPs? Do we fund people for making an effort? For example, creating a map of the impact of a HIP, or creating a dashboard with information on how the reports could change on different options. There are ways we need to discuss on how we would assist and how we would fund people. That's what we're going to be doing in the couple of calls we have next month. They're both going to be running at kind of similar times. About this time on the 15th, and then a few hours later to cope with Asia Pacific on the 22nd from memory. But we will look in the future to creating more channels for governance and feedback where response is actually, volunteers are responding. So we'll try and get as much community involvement as possible and try and enable those people who are interested to provide their response to the community. The next community call will be, as I said, on the 15th. We have an agenda. I'll post the links in there just shortly after this. But yeah, and welcome any comment. Anybody's welcome to comment in the foundation channel, the governance channels, HIP discussion channels, and also on the agenda document. People can add their own comments there, and we'll add them into the document, and if they fit right, then they'll go into the charter as well. And thank you for that.
Great. Thank you, Waveform. Okay, we're just going to move ahead to the working groups. So just a heads up, I think we have a scheduling conflict with 0 tweets from the mobile working group. So we're going to move ahead in the meantime to the IoT working group and hopefully circle back to the mobile working group later in the call. So if I could call up NOS Master to give us an update from the IoT working group, please. Where are you, NOS? There you are. Hey there.
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you. So take it away. We could. Not hearing you now, unfortunately.
Hello.
There we go. Okay, now we've got you.
So over the last month, the working group mainly has been focused on conversations around adjusting HIP 17 to try and combat density in large cities. It looks like the transmission scale didn't really work as effectively as it was hoped originally. So Groot and Ryoba are putting together some information on some different values to adjust the transmission scale. I think that's going to be going on for a while, probably into this month. At the end of the last call, it was brought up by Joey from Foundation. What happens at the end of HIP 91? The location reassert fee. Some point in January, it'll go back to $10 unless a HIP comes forward to readjust or to propose that it's kept at the $5. So that's something that there's discussions around at the moment. And the one other thing that has been spoken about really this month is minimum participation for rewards. The denial list is currently the only hotspots that are currently on the denial list are hotspots that don't meet the minimum criteria of being able to beacon and witness. There's talks of moving that into POC and away from the denial list as a minimum acceptable participation to the network. I think that's it for this month.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Nas. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, we're going to move on to HIPs about to be put up for voting. So we've got HIP 96. That's Wi-Fi access point onboarding structure. So Max, if you can jump up. Hey, Max.
All right. Yeah. So we introduced HIP 96 in the last call. It defines the onboard fees for the Wi-Fi APs. $20 for the indoor, $30 for the outdoor, $10 of which will be paid using DC, and then the remaining balance for each will be paid using mobile burn. No real changes, or at least no material changes from the last call. So I believe it's going up for vote soon. I don't have a date on that. Maybe Abai can, or someone else at the foundation can give us more information about that. But yeah, it's no real updates since the last one.
Okay, appreciate it. I just posted a link in the chat to the discussion channel, so feel free to talk about it in there. Okay, we're going to jump ahead to, let's see, Elon Tusk or Leo, if you guys are available here. Not seeing you in the chat.
I don't think they're available, Keenan. I just put them down in case they manage to turn up.
Okay, got it. Well, all right, we'll skip ahead then. Thank you, Waveform.
Well, we're just covering the fact that HIP 92 did go to vote. This was the HIP for paying out to the hotspots that missed the pre-mine and how that was going to be funded and when it would be paid out. And yeah, it went to vote and it did not pass this one.
Got it. Yeah, that's HIP92 IoT pre-mine calculation error correction is what it was called. Okay. Thank you very much. So then we'll move on to new HIPs. So we've got a new one from Heated Lime, if you want to come up and talk about it.
Hey, thanks. So new hip, hip 97 just got its name and Discord channel created. It's a mobile hip. The gist of it is to change the location assertion fees from being paid in DC to be paid in mobile, and lowering that fee to $5. So there's discussion right now in the channel, whether the fee should be $5, whether it should be $10, whether there should be no fee. So feel free to drop on in that channel and provide any feedback and discussion. So thanks.
Cool, thank you. I just posted a link in the chat as well. Feel free to jump in there. All right, and wait for him if I can have you back up again.
Yes, we've had this hip for just over a month now, I think. This is a hip to set the default regional frequency for the majority of Africa to EU 868. The majority of the African countries actually at the moment quite often don't have a default LoRaWAN regional frequency, or they have one that we do not support, which is EU 433. And this HIP, as discussed in the other week, is to say that Helium will set this as a standard for ourselves. We will support this, and then we will be working with local installers, local deployers to contact the regional telecoms authorities, the country authorities, to set EU 868 as a standard. I attended one of the LoRaWAN Alliance regulatory meetings in this last month, and they are supportive of our efforts to change the frequency to EU 868. They have not necessarily been successful in their own efforts. They said in the past that they've tried to do North Africa with some assistance from people there, but it's not been that successful. So we'll be looking for country partners such as Open, who are currently deploying in certain African countries, who want to deploy more, to assist us and the LoRaWAN Alliance in setting the standards for the local telecoms authorities to be a regional standard, a EU 868, which is the default standard assigned for what they call, I think it's Region 2 area, which is the whole of Europe and Africa and some of the Middle East. So hopefully we'll get a standard which is for the whole of that region in the world. And that's the goal for the next few years from us. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. And yeah, once again, if I can get Heated Lime back up one more time. All right, go ahead.
Sorry, what's the topic? I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Mobile QoS requirements.
Oh, yep. So I just put a HIP in GitHub or a pull request in GitHub. I don't think it's named yet, unless that's recently. But the reason behind the HIP is when the quality of service standards were established for mobile, such as the speed tests and uptime requirements for heartbeats, they weren't memorialized in a HIP. So basically, I drafted a HIP to memorialize the same speed test requirements and heartbeat requirements that were previously communicated in a blog post. So this is basically just memorializing that the community agrees with the standards that were previously set. And yeah, that's it. And so I don't know if there's it's actually numbered yet, but I'm guessing that'll happen shortly.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Moving along.
Yeah, I don't know if Disc 91 is around to discuss HIP 94, Keenan,
Okay.
but he's been posting in the HIP channel. I'm crunching data to simulate the different proposals. So he's working on it. I think the last comment was the CPU time would be about 10 hours to process his evaluation.
Got it. All right. Well, I just posted a link to HIP 94 in the chat, so feel free to catch up in there. While you're here, looking for Zero Tweets if he's coming up or not. I'm not sure if he's available just yet.
If he's not yet around, I'll just say that something I would like assistance with from everybody out there is going to be looking at creating a list of the scammers that we see in all the maker discords. We want I just report them anywhere and everywhere you see, and we'll try and create a global list that we can share with all Discord operators. And then hopefully the moment we see one of them operating in one Discord, we can get them banned in all of them.
Perfect. Okay. Also, looks like Zero Tweets is busy for a little while, so we might not be able to get an update from him. So what we can do, I guess, is just get a update via text, and we can post it in channel to be updated that way. And we can also add it to the agenda if that's the case.
Or is anyone from the mobile working group available who can give an update from their side?
Yeah, that'd be great as well. Oh, all right.
I don't want to provide too much of an update because a lot of what we were hoping Boris would cover was, things that Nova was planning on doing or thinking about. So I don't want to speak on behalf of Nova or anything. But I will just say, we have our mobile working group meetings every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's basically a group of us that talk about making improvements to the mobile network and how we can improve the network and increase the deployment and growth of it. So please check us out every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central.
Yeah, it's a great call out. Thank you. And for those that don't know, in Discord, there's an event section at the top of the channel list. So if you click events, it'll list all of the events that are happening. So for example, the Helium community call that's happening right now, it'll post in there. It'll tell you what time in your local time zone. The IoT and working group calls are posted in here for every week. So like Heated Lime mentioned, the mobile working groups are Thursdays. And IoT working groups are Mondays. You can click on the event link, remind yourself, add a calendar link. Please join in. It's great to get some community input on these calls. You can engage in the chat and listen into the working group calls. And we're coming to the end of our meeting here. So if there's any questions that anyone has, feel free to post in the chat. I'll pause for a moment here to see if there's anything that anyone has to say. Got a couple people writing, so let's just take a moment here. Appreciate that comment. Baseball. Thank you, Heated Lime. Thank you, Riaba. Okay, doesn't look like there's any other questions. So we are coming to the end of the call. So the next call is scheduled for Wednesday, November 29th. Again, you can find that on the events link in Discord. This call has been recorded. It will be posted shortly after this call, so feel free to check. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Waveform.
Apparently Boris is coming in a minute or so.
Oh, is he? Oh, great. Okay. You know what? Well, then we'll pause before we close this out. It would be great to get an update from him, so we'll just give it a moment here. More dad jokes to fill the space? Sure, let's do it. Let's see if I got another one. Or Jay, yours was pretty good, so.
I'll jump in here with an ad hoc agenda item. So another thing to highlight that we're sort of happy to launch. I think we shipped this live late last week, but the Open LNS docs have been sort of fully updated, and those have kind of gone with a lot of input from. It was Eric at Deutsche Telekom gave a lot of good notes there. So if you're interested in running your own LNS, do check that out. And I will leave the stage because I see 0 tweets.
Hey, 0 tweets. Thank you for joining.
Hey, everybody.
The conflict there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I tried to make it as soon as I could, so hopefully
All
didn't
good.
have to wait too long.
No, we're all good. Take it away.
Great. So, I understand that there's been some, or rather many questions about some of the ideas we've shared about sort of accelerating Wi-Fi and providing people with the option to swap CBRS radios for Wi-Fi. So I just, I wanted to hop on here and see if maybe there's some specific questions that I can answer for the folks and spend some time, like the 30 minutes that I think still remains in the call schedule to address some of the questions and concerns related to that. If there's no questions, then maybe it's easy and I'm not needed.
So we've got a question, how will the swap work?
Yeah, so I think that the exact details of the steps one needs to take to make the swap work, we are still finalizing, but most likely it will involve those who are interested in doing the swap, registering the radio serial that they want swapped. We'll collect all of the serials over a period of time, and we'll basically signing up for doing a swap. By signing up for doing a swap, you'll indicate your willingness to basically, temporarily shut down your CBRS radio and take it out of the POC pool until, we've been able to solve the problem of handovers. And we'll collect, all of the folks that volunteer, and then probably within a very short period of time, like 2-3 days, all of the radios that are in the list will be, shut down by us. We'll effectively update the firmware on the radio to turn it into a stock radio instead of the Helium specific radio. And then, for that, you will get an allocation of the Wi-Fi units. The ratios that we're currently discussing internally, this is again something that could change, but each indoor CBRS radio will get 2 indoor Wi-Fi hotspots. Each outdoor 430 or a Circom radio will get 2 outdoor Wi-Fi hotspots, and the large 436s will probably get 4 outdoor Wi-Fi hotspots.
Sorry, just to jump in here real quick. Hashcode made a comment there regarding this swap. I think if you could just kind of give some context for the people that weren't following along in the chat, what you mean by swap. Just a little bit of context for this whole subject.
Oh, it's not a swap. You'll basically get to keep your radios, but you will no longer be able to use those radios on the Helium network, and you will get effectively free Wi-Fi units in addition to the radios that you have.
So
That's
just to
how we're currently
clarify,
thinking about it. This is
we're
Yeah.
discussing those who purchase CBRS radios being able to exchange those in some form for a new Wi-Fi radio. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. So I don't
Okay.
know if maybe do you want me to start from the beginning and set the context? I wasn't
Yes.
sure, like how. Okay, so
Yeah,
maybe I've
sorry,
jumped
if you
ahead
could.
a little
I
bit.
think there was
Yeah.
a very small conversation that happened in that chat, so if we could elaborate, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, sure. So basically, as all of you guys know, we've been working for the last year and a half to implement handovers between T-Mobile and the CBRS network that's out there. We've tried all kinds of things. We've explored various options and tested various options with T-Mo on the network side. We've tested different options on the device side. And long story short, we're continuing to work on this, and we're not alone in this. This is kind of like an industry-wide problem that exists when it comes to effectively doing handovers between a neutral host network and a macro network. We're not the only ones that are facing this problem, but we don't want to wait any longer. We think that this problem is precluding us from getting subscribers from Helium Mobile, actually, moving quickly to get more subscribers, because for a lot of the subscribers that are in the areas where CBRS radios are, the experience is not great. And until we fixed it, basically, the whole service is the value proposition of the whole service is questionable. So because of that, what we want to do is we first, want to accelerate the speed at which we are deploying the Wi-Fi network, because on the Wi-Fi side, we have tested thoroughly the handovers work. And two, we want to effectively minimize the number of active CBRS radios out there, ideally down to 0, but not clear if that's possible yet, until the problem with handovers between macro and CBRS has been solved. To make that happen, what we're working on internally, and this is some of the, I think, discussions that have happened in Discord, is a program whereby we'll allow people who are currently operating the radios to voluntarily take their radios out of the POC pool in exchange for effectively free equipment that we will provide to the host. And we are expecting to be able to formally kind of announce it with all of the details as to how this will work, who exactly is eligible, first of all, how do you get the radio, like what do you fill out, what the ratios are, etc. Will come probably in the next, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. But in the meantime, we're kind of like working to structure it. So that's the context. Maybe resume on the questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. There has been some questions in the chat, if you see those. I don't know if you want to scroll back.
Let me see.
I think you answered this on one already, but how many indoor Wi-Fi for indoor CBRS?
So we're still working out on the ratios. They might change, but indicatively, for indoors, you will get 2 indoor units. For outdoor low power, you'll get 2 outdoor units. And for outdoor high power, which is 436, you will get 4 outdoor units.
Okay, another question is, will they be physically collecting the radios?
Most likely not, but this is another part that we're still trying to figure out. But at this point, I think that we're leaning towards not collecting the radios. People will get to keep the radios. but we will update the radios to a firmware that will no longer be compatible with the Helium network.
Okay. Another question is, what order will people get them? In brackets, first come, first serve, merit, etc.
There's not going to be an order. The process is going to be, we'll have for people to opt in to participate in this program, meaning take your radio out of POC pool, get Wi-Fi in return. There's going to be a period of probably about a month where we'll broadcast broadly to everybody, hey, go register, go register. Everybody registers, and then this form where you register gets locked down, and at the same time, two things happen. One, the radios that you registered get taken out of a POC pool. Two, you get the Wi-Fi units shipped to the address that you have specified in the form.
Got it. And on that note regarding active radios, so there's a question, does that only apply to active radios? What about units that remain undeployed?
So there's definitely going to be a way for people that have undeployed radios to get something. We're still trying to figure out how that will work, primarily because we also don't have a very good way to validate if actually, like you have an undeployed radio or not. So maybe it will involve you like shipping it to us, or maybe it's going to be like a different approach. So that part we have not figured out yet.
Just scrolling through here to see if there's any other questions.
Yep.
What if I want to swap out a 430 for an outdoor Wi-Fi unit?
Good question. I don't know. I don't see why it would not be possible. I think probably yes, but we haven't thought about how this how this would work. So we'll need to think through like the ratios for the non-even swaps. We've only thought about it as indoor to indoor, outdoor to outdoor. But I think we could enable sort of cross swaps like that, but we'll need to figure out, exactly what will support and what the ratios would look like.
Okay. You did briefly touch base on this question earlier, but we'll just come back to it. Is there a better range with the Wi-Fi ones? So, if you want to answer that versus CBRS.
No, the range on the Wi-Fi radios is worse, which is why you get disproportionate sort of swap that is biased towards more Wi-Fi units. So Wi-Fi has a smaller range than CBRS. It has a lot of other good things going for it. It has a lot more capacity. It has a lower latency. It's easier to deploy, but the range is generally worse. Particularly, I think the difference is noticeable when it comes to outdoor. If you were to compare like the Wi-Fi outdoor unit to the high power outdoor CBRS unit, the 436s blast much, much bigger radius, like probably 10 to 20x that of an outdoor Wi-Fi, obviously depending on, all of the clutter around it, but that's generally how it is. I see question. Let me see. Can CBRS radios still remain online without negative effects? Yes. If you want to keep it online, that's fine. It won't be a Helium compatible radio anymore. It won't mine tokens. But if you want to use it for whatever, like your private network or something like that, you could keep it. Now, important caveat here is that, just the radios that you have, for them to function, you will need also like other components of the LTE network, like the core. You will need to have an account with a SaaS vendor to get the spectrum grants, etc. So none of that is going to be provided to the radios that have opted in to receive free Wi-Fi units. You'll probably have the physical radio, and you can get your own SaaS subscription at Google and whatever, get an open source core installed, and then you can get it working. But you're not going to be able to basically piggyback off the Nova hosted services for this. Will there be a swap for the Freedom Fi gateways? So no, there will not be a swap for the Freedom Fi gateways. Again, just to clarify, like, we're not looking at it as a swap. We're talking about basically sending free Wi-Fi gear to people that have invested in CBRS. We're not likely expecting the radios of the gateways back. The gateways you can keep, they will still mine IoT, but they will no longer function as an, effectively the, component of the edge core, which is what they do right now in the LTE network that we're hosting.
Horace, one thing I just wanted to say and jump in. I said this in chat as well. This is a change that the community is, I think, still reacting to. I think this is a change that you guys are also reacting to. A lot of this is happening live and in the open. And so I just wanted to sort of acknowledge that you might not have all of the answers here, but like we all kind of appreciate that you guys are bringing us along right with us. So first of all, like, thank you for making, this is a tough decision and you guys are working through all the details, and thanks for like just being up here and giving us all the details live.
Yeah, thanks so much. And again, I apologize for, to reciprocate that, I apologize for not having all the details just yet. We, as we work through this, we wanted to share as much as we can and make sure that everybody pretty much knows everything that we know. And we haven't figured out all of these aspects, so I don't know if I'm a little bit vague about any of the questions, or if I don't have all the answers, it's, just because I myself don't quite know yet the answers. So,
do you have any sense on timeline? And you can also say, I will have a sense on timeline at a later date, if that's the answer right now.
Yeah, I think that we are looking to kick off the process probably in 3 to 4 weeks and conclude the process, meaning like everybody wants a free Wi-Fi radio in exchange for taking your CBRS radio out of the POC pool by the end of the year. So we'll open up the form probably in like 3-4 weeks. And then people will have a month to opt in, and then we'll close the form and update all of the radios that have opted in.
Got it. And are there any, and this is more from the foundation perspective, are there any proposals or HIPs or governance changes that need to be made that are sort of associated with it? We are doing the community sort of going through the governance process for onboarding Wi-Fi APs. So we have the sort of spin up on that side. Is there any sort of spin down on the CBRS side that needs to happen?
So I think that realistically, we should start a parallel discussion about updating POC structure such that people operating Wi-Fi get their, money's worth in rewards, and potentially simplify a lot of the things that we had to have because of the complexity of CBRS. But we see that as kind of like a parallel track that we'll work on together with the mobile working group, as we usually do, to structure to structure either a HIP or a series of HIPs to update the POC to simplify it and make it more optimal for a very Wi-Fi forward network.
Cool. So it sounds like we know where the venue is for this iteration. And yeah, the foundation's here to support the governance changes from the network. So let us know how we can help.
Yep, awesome. Let's see. So will Poland radios be eligible for trade-in? Probably not. So if it's a Poland radio, like that you have a Poland radio, then no. But if it's a Poland radio that a while ago you have updated to Helium radio and it's been online for a while, then I would imagine that is likely to make the qualification cut. But again, like we're still trying to figure out what is the most fair approach to figure out which radios qualify for the free Wi-Fi and which ones are not. So there might be some, changes to how that's structured when we finally launch this. We make sure that CBRS gear stops being sold ASAP so folks don't accidentally buy it. So we already have stopped all direct CBRS sales, but we can't force the ecosystem to stop selling it. All we can do is communicate our intent, which is why we are doing it, so early and even before we have fully baked it for that exact reason. So that everybody's on board and understands what we're working on. So we are not selling CBRS anymore, but there's other players in the ecosystem that sell CBRS radios that we don't have a physical ability to preclude them from selling it because they're a separate legal entity doing what they want to do. Let's see if there's more questions. Yeah, so this is about the messaging for this. So yeah, we're gonna broadly communicate all of this in fine detail across all channels. Like I said, in 3 to 4 weeks, in conjunction with formally opening up the program. So yeah, we'll try. I think that our objective is to make sure that everybody is aware of this, and ideally, pretty much all of the radios that are currently online opt in for the swap. So, to the extent that you can spread the word, do, but just don't, I'm concerned that, people will be panicking, like, oh no, they're killing our radio. So it's just to be clear, like we're not forcing anybody to do anything. And, as much as I personally feel it would be great if we just, until the handovers work perfectly, had no CBRS radios, we still likely will end up with some CBRS radios on the network. And, we're not expecting, we're not going to be forcing people to shut them off. So make sure that when you, share what's going on, you don't cause a panic, basically. Because there's a lot of information still missing about this because we're still working through the details of how it's going to work. Any more questions that I can field? I'm just looking for the scroll here. Looks like yeah, so why didn't we start with Wi-Fi APs to begin with? I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I think that we are collectively learning and evolving and changing. We are operating at the edge of human knowledge with what we're doing. I don't think anybody has done effectively what we are trying to do. A way to traverse this path is to, do stuff and course correct when you make mistakes. So that is why. And I think that this is not the last course correction that you will see on our path to glory, unfortunately. But having said that, I really appreciate everybody, sticking with us and helping us build the network.
Well, thank you very much for joining and answering a ton of questions there. We really, really appreciate it. Mobile Working Group is happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. I assume there's going to be some more discussion about this stuff.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Perfect. So if anyone has any more further questions, please join the Mobile Working Group tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. Again, you can find that in the events link in Discord. And I think we'll call it there. We're coming to the end of our time. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and whoever spoke, thank you very much for coming on up. Again, next call is scheduled for Wednesday, November 29th. Join us then with more information. Otherwise, everyone enjoy your week, and happy Halloween.
Yep.
Hope everyone has a great day. See you, everybody.